Brain function remains an enigma. This discussion offers, at best, a working hypothesis. At birth, our brain is not an empty slate. It is preloaded with innate information. Information begets ability. The primary ability is the ability to acquire information, to learn. The newborn brain also has the ability to initiate and forge basics of personality, of character, and of values. These evolve into adulthood. Our brains evolve with the assimilation of external information. This can be called the afferent pathway or the information assimilation pathway. At the core, we have a system of information archival and processing. This is the cognitive unit. Then we have the executive unit, which implements the decisions of the cognitive unit. Our self integrates with and modulates what we garner as information and also modulates the actions that we perform. The cognitive unit merges with the self. The information acquisition pathway is the afferent arm of the information loop. Sensory portals of vision, hearing, smell and taste, and touch garner environmental information. In humans, vision dominates. The visual pathway includes visual registration, recognition of visual information, and recording of visual inputs. Let's consider the visual registration system. Images fall on the retina. These images are converted into electrophysiological synaptic code. Images are transmitted through the optic nerves. There is a decussation of nasal fibers at the optic chiasm, which allows concordant images of both eyes. Optic tracts convey these images to the thalamus to the lateral geniculate nucleus. From the thalami, optic radiations pass to the occipital cortex, traversing the parietal and the temporal lobes. The occipital cortex registers information. Information registration is an active process. Our eyes seek out objects of importance and interest. From the rivulets of visual information, only a few nuggets are ultimately registered. The relay station at the lateral geniculate nucleus of the thalamus has a purpose. It seeks out hazard information and initiates certain self-preserving reflexes even before cortical processing. The sinuous course of the optic radiations through the parietal and temporal cortices allow for exposure to pre-registered templates. Chosen nuggets of information are gleaned from the turbulent visual flow in all its frenzy. Recognition of visual information registered in the occipital cortex, occurs with template comparisons in the association cortices. There are two visual information streams. Object identity provides one stream, the other stream provides the context. Both these streams move on to the hippocampus. The hippocampus records information. It merges information streams from other sensory inputs, visual, sound, smell, touch. All these inputs are merged. Emotional flavoring is added. Time and space correlates are added. And now we have an information sachet which is stored in the hippocampus. The hippocampus is only a staging memory post. Memory post sort of saves up information sachets till an appropriate moment when they can be transferred to the neocortex. And this kind of information transfer from the hippocampus to the neocortex occurs during sleep. Transfer of information from the hippocampus to the neocortex occurs during sleep. There are waves of information transfer. These waves have been described as thalamocortical spindles. These thalamocortical spindles occur during shortwave sleep or SWS. This is also known as the NREM or non-rapid eye movement sleep. Now there are two zones of the neocortex to which information transfer occur. The frontal lobe receives a gist or an abstract of the information. Gist information is stored in language form. Storage of gist information in the synaptic maze of the frontal lobe is the talisman of human cognitive superiority. Hence, the frontal lobe is larger in humans. We have language. The parietal cortex stores multimodality information. Archival of information in the parietal lobe moves beyond the synaptic maze and into neurons. Intraneuronal information storage is by chemical or DNA linkages. Now, intraneuronal information archival is more resilient than synaptic storage. Intraneuronal repositories retain information as long as the neuron is viable. Delayed recovery of memory and function in patients with prolonged coma can occur with reconnections of neurons which have stored information and which have been differentiated by trauma or by other insults. We have already seen that transfer of information from the hippocampus to the neocortex occurs during non-rapid eye movement sleep or the first phase of sleep. Intraneuronal information transfer and archival happen during REM sleep or the rapid eye movement sleep. This is the dream phase of sleep. Dreams are possibly a consequence of the spillover of archived information during the phase of intraneuronal information transfer. Frontal and the parietal association cortices archive information. The frontal executive cortex preserves a gist of information in language form. This facilitates our thinking process and our decision making. Executive decision making, editing, and rectifications of decisions involve also the detailed information archives of the parietal association cortex. Gist information in the frontal lobe is tethered to its detailed counterpart in the parietal association cortex through the caudate nucleus. Information which is archived interacts with self. Our self is the genetic endowment and inherited information that we are born with. The self also encodes for drives, character, and religiosity. The complex interplay between our information archives or learning and the self evolve knowledge paradigms and ultimately forge wisdom.